Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ukhwat Noshin, Assistant Professor in B.Ed College. Today I will teach about the concept of micro teaching and its one of the skill is stimulus variation skill. There are various skills but I have chosen stimulus variation skill. Now we will see the concept of micro teaching. What is micro teaching? First we will see the content which I have covered in this PPT, the concept of micro teaching. Stimulus, what is mean by stimulus variation skill? Different components of stimulus variation skill. I have taken an example to understand about the concept of stimulus variation skill and conclusion. Now we will start it from micro teaching. What is mean by micro teaching? Micro teaching is a teacher training technique which an educator practices and refines specific teaching skills through short, scaled down lessons in a controlled environment. The process involves a cycle of planning, teaching a brief lesson to a small group, receiving constructive feedback from their peer or mentor. First, we will see the concept of micro teaching was given by Ellen and Rian. They were the educators to train our teachers. It's such a teacher training program. It is a real teaching. It is a scale down technique in which we have to reduce the number of students. We have to take very small content and we have to teach for only for 5 to 7 minutes. That's why we are saying that micro teaching is a scale down technique. Or it will boost the confidence among the students having the mastery over the subject. Now we will see about the micro teaching. In micro teaching, the core concept of micro teaching, it is a scale down environment in which we have to teach 5 to 10 minutes. The focus on specific skills, live effective questioning, explaining concept and encouraging students participation. The cycle, the teaching, receive feedback from the students, replanning, reach teaching to refine the skill, in which student has to write about any particular skill. There are various skills are there: introduction, explanation, reinforcement and feedback, blackboard writing, stimulus variation skill. Once the student has to plan that micro teaching, and then they has to present that planning, and they get the feedback. Wherever they did the mistakes, they will get the feedback from their peer group as well as the observer, and then they has to replan and reteach the same skill. Feedback and reflection. This feedback is used to identify strengths and weaknesses for improvement. The student understand what are their strength and weakness, how he or she is good in teaching, and what are their weakness. Or the feedback will get it from their peer group and the teacher, expert teacher. Now we will see what are the key components of stimulus variation skill. The key components of stimulus variation skill are the movements, gestures, change in speech pattern, focusing, pausing, change in interaction style, changing sensory channels. The stimulus variation is very important skill throughout the teaching session. When it is about the personality development of a teacher, the teacher's movement, how the teacher walk, how the teacher stand in front of the students. Excessive movement should avoid by the teacher. Teacher should walk slowly, and she has to be moved from one place to another. She should not stand in only one place, and she should not interact only few groups of the student to only particular students. She has to interact with whole class. The movement of the teacher is very important. She has to move in that she has to interact with all the students, and the movement of the teacher should be good. Gestures and expression depend upon the subject topic. Teacher has to be express according to their subjects only. The Actually the gestures and expressions, they are for the languages, it is very essential. Teacher has to be expressed for according to the subjects. If the she's teaching about the sad story, so teacher should be express that she is also very sad. If there is a poem of a very happy, she has, so she should be behave that she is very happy, and she has to jump, she has to walk, she has to clap. Hmm? The gestures and expressions are very important because the students imitate her change in speech pattern. Only explanation is not sufficient for the teaching. She has to change. There should be a variation. While after teaching, she should interact with the students. She should ask the question. In between teaching, she has to write on the blackboard. She has to use some teaching aids. She has to show some objects focusing. She has to gain attention from the students. Pausing, she should not teach continuously and very fast. She has to take some pause, and after taking pause she has to continue her teaching. Change in the interaction style, as I said earlier, she has to use teaching aids. She has to explain with examples. She has to use blackboard. She has to take active participation from the students. There are so many varieties she has to include in her teaching. Changing sensory channels gain the attention from the students. For any subjects, the teacher has to show some objects and teaching aids, just like chart. And for any subjects, if she is teaching nutrition, food, she has to show some vegetables, fruits, dry fruits, and their health benefits. Now we will see. I will recite a poem. Subject is English and topic is poem. My garden, my garden. This is my garden. I will plant it with care. Here are the seeds I will plant in there. The sun will shine and the rain will fall. The seeds will sprout and grow up tall. It's just a small poem. It is for the small children, but teacher has to be expressive, and she will explain and she is properly interact with the student. I hope thank you so much. I hope you understand the concept of micro teaching and the stimulus variation skill.